What's going on, Broncos country? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here with the latest news and rumors surrounding the Broncos, including the best and worst contracts. An interesting article from Mile High Huddle over at SI. We'll peek at that later on. Plus, the new DC in Denver, Evero, comes over from LA and reveals maybe his plan for how he wants to utilize all the pass rushers on this Broncos roster. But first, before we dive into anything, I need help. We got to get to 8,300 subs or else I won't be here probably by Monday. Boss is out of town this weekend, so I'm going to sneak some videos in while he's away from the office. But 41 subs to go. Help me reach that goal. Help me put food on my table by hitting that big red button and subscribing, helping a little YouTuber out. All right, let's jump into the first segment of today's show. The best and the worst contracts on the Broncos books right now per Mile High Huddle. So what they did was they looked at all the veterans on the team, multi-year deals and whatnot, and ranked them from first to last, 1 through 15, the best to worst contracts. Number 1, they went Courtland Sutton. Got that 4-year, $60 million extension last year. Yeah, no argument for me here. Russ is number 2. You could probably flip-flop those, honestly, but you're not going to twist your arm either way. He still has 2 years left on his deal, but he'll get an extension soon. Now that the whole ownership debacle has been figured out, that will be settled. Josey Jewell, number 3, kind of surprised me. 2-year, $11 million deal, re-signed in free agency. I guess because of how cheap it is, $6.5 million for a starting linebacker. It's pretty good. Patrick and K'Wan Williams. Damn, K'Wan Williams, by the way, 2-year, just $5.2 million. That's a steal right there. But who do you guys think is the most underrated player on the Broncos? In yesterday's video, we took a look at ESPN's pick. They went with Tim Patrick, which is a pretty good pick in my opinion. K'Wan Williams, though, that'd be an excellent choice as well. He's going to be a nice Bryce Callahan replacement in the slot. Let's keep the line moving here. Number 6, Justin Simmons. 4 years, $61 million deal right now. Love to see that. I mean, we'll take a closer look at him in a moment. But Garett Bolles, 4 years, $68 million extension a couple of years ago. McManus, Mike Boone at number 9. I guess 2 year, $3.8 million. It's not bad for RB3, but is he really going to have a huge impact on a game? Sorry, Mike, if you're watching, probably not. Graham Glasgow, number 10. This one I got a bit of a bone to pick with, but we'll save that for later. 4 year, $44 million. But I want to just give Justin Simmons some love and some credit right now because he deserves that. I think with all the primetime games coming the Broncos' way, starting literally in Week 1, Monday Night Football in Seattle, the entire nation is just going to pick up and learn more about this guy and learn that he's not just a good safety. He's a top 5 safety in the NFL. You could even go all the way to say a top 3 safety. He's right there with the Minkah Fitzpatricks and the Jamal Adams of the world. Justin Simmons, I'm happy to see him get some credit this season because with all the big spotlights and all the national game coverage coming the Broncos' way, everyone's going to know who this guy is after this year. All right, bottom 5 worst contracts from Mile High Huddle. DJ Jones at number 11. I liked the signing a lot. 3 year, $30 million, $20 million guaranteed. Sam Martin, 3 year, $7. I mean, it's a punter who gives a shit. Randy Gregory, 5 year, $70 million contract, clocking in at 13th. Don't like that. Purcell and Darby round it out. But let's take a closer look at Randy Gregory, right? I was a little taken back by him coming in at number 13 for the Broncos. If you don't remember, he signed a 2-year deal, which is basically $28 million. I know it says 5 years, $78 million, but only 28 was guaranteed. So the way I look at this, it's a 2-year contract, $14 million each season, and they can move on after that. Now, Bob Morris, who works over at Mile High Huddle, I think probably lost sight of that because he said, while the Broncos didn't reset the market with this deal, it's still a considerable sum and carries a lot of risk, particularly because Gregory has never played a full season. Time will tell if this signing works out, but for now, it can't be considered a good value. I understand what Bob is trying to get across if you think about you gave a guy $70 million who's never played a full season. Yeah, when you look at it that way, it doesn't sound good. But look at it from the guaranteed, which is only $28 million, $14 over the next 2 seasons. 28 altogether, like I said. The dead cap hit by 2024 is $6 million. So you got 2 years with him. If he sucks after that, you move on, and it basically costs you just a couple pennies and dimes here and there. So if he's awesome, though, you keep him on board, and it's a bargain. 5 years, $70 million for what could be maybe one of the best pass rushers out there. I mean, when he's out there and when he's playing for the Cowboys, when he was playing for the Cowboys, he was a very effective pass rusher. It's just a big question of when he can continue to play. So I don't really agree with his take about Gregory and the huge sum. Yeah, $70 million sounds big. Don't look at the 70. Look at the 28. If he's not good after 2 years, really didn't cost you all that much. And if he works out well, and this is a player you want to see long term, you got him for a steal. You got him for nothing. $70 million for a pass rusher this day and age in football. That's a great value right there. But what do you think is the worst contract on the books? We just checked out 15 players. Purcell could make some sense. I'll give you my take in just a moment, but I want to know what you guys are thinking down in the comment section. I tossed and turned between Mike Purcell and Glasgow. Ultimately, I went with Graham just because he's going to have a bigger cap hit this year. Now, he did restructure his contract back in January, reduced his base salary to $3.1 million, can make some more with incentives, but a $6.2 million cap hit this season for a good chance he's going to be a backup. That's an expensive backup right there. You look at the depth chart right now, I still have him as a starter because I think if week one was tomorrow, he would be a starter. But I don't know if he'll be able to hold on to that job throughout all of preseason and training camp. I'm guessing Quinn Miners, he'll take that job from him. I don't think Cush or Reisner will lose their jobs to Belly, so I think if I had to predict what that interior offensive line looks like, it's Dalton Reisner at your left guard position, Cush at center, and then Miners at right guard. What I'm tossing and turning with is, will that happen by week one? Or will it take a couple of weeks for Miners to maybe eventually take over? Or will it just be one outright during training camp? We've got more coverage to get to in just a moment, but I want to remind everyone to turn your notifications on, because when breaking news happens, say, I don't know, Russell Wilson gets traded, and every single Seahawk fan under the sun told us he's never going to get traded, and then he did. We've got you covered here. Follow the instructions. Go to settings. Go to YouTube when you scroll to the bottom. Tap on notifications. Turn on all allowed notifications. You hit that bell icon, and boom. You're part of the Noti gang, all right? Like my friends Jacob Youngblood, Bill L, Elin, Bonjo Prod, and Donald Wench. Shout out to all of you guys. Appreciate you for always being some of the first commenters on our show. Get a shout out on a future Broncos Breakdown. Get your name on screen when you get those notifications on and you're a part of the Noti gang. All right, to wrap up today's show, the second half of it, I just want to take a quick look at the new Broncos defensive coordinator, Ejiro Evero, because he's got a good problem on his hand. He's got a lot of pass rushers to work with. So he's got to figure out a balance of who he wants to play with more, who he wants to give more starting reps to and whatnot. So we'll take a look at what he said in just a second. Evero said back during OTAs, it's a factor of who's playing the best. You get a good rotation and you want to keep guys fresh. When you rush the passer, interior or exterior, it's one of those deals that it's more tiresome than people think. Depth is always good. If I'm Evero, I'm pumped that Peyton's giving me tons of depth. But personally, myself, I'm expecting a variety of looks from him this season. I think he's going to get a bit creative, a bit exotic in terms of the different blitz packages you're going to see. And it's not going to be very cookie cutter of these 3 down linemen plus these 2 outside linebackers. That's the only players going after the quarterback. Because the Broncos have some key pass rushers. They're going to try to find a way to get on the field at the same time for obvious passing situations. Let's just assume, right, Chubb and Gregory are your starting outside linebackers. Draymond Jones is going to be starting at your 5 technique. Nick Bonito, your first pick from this past draft class, he's going to be a part of the rotation and probably pick up more snaps as the season progresses. But this is going to be a fun foursome right there of finding different ways that Evero can dial up for them to all be on the field at the same time. Now, here's an interesting question I kind of toss and turn with. Who's going to lead the Broncos in sacks this season? It's not a bad answer, right? It could be Chubb, could be Gregory, You could go Draymond Jones. Shelby Harris led the team last year with 6. Draymond Jones was right behind him with 5.5. It all comes down to health because you haven't seen Chubb or Gregory, Gregory especially, but Chubb has not been healthy since 2018. So curious what you guys are predicting for this one. While you're getting your votes in, make sure you subscribe to the channel here at Chat Sports. Like I said, we got to get to 8,300 subs Friday right now. I want to walk in Monday, and I don't want to have to hand in my playbook at 5 a.m. to my boss. So hit that big red button, subscribe, and we'll see you guys later with more Broncos news and rumors.